Greetings, gentlemen. Most of you know, those of you who've been around for a long time on my channel, that I'm not a very political person. I'm just not. Politics in itself doesn't interest me terribly. I certainly have my opinions about certain things, but generally speaking, just don't have a lot of interest. It's always been this way. I think the only exception was a phase in my late 20s where I was kind of a libertarian. So I'm just not that political. It's just a fact. And more to the point, inasmuch as I am political, I'm just kind of a boring centrist. I have some views that people would consider right-wing, and I definitely have some views that people would consider left-wing. I'm offering all of this as a preface because the topic I want to talk about today is the forthcoming election. It's noteworthy for a number of reasons, and as I said, whilst I'm not political, and I wouldn't even claim to be particularly knowledgeable about politics in general, there are certain things about this upcoming election you just can't miss. On the one hand, you have God Emperor Trump. On the other hand, you have discount Obama Kamala Harris, who's basically a fill-in for a president who's too senile to continue. And it's just a very weird juxtaposition. And one of the weirdest things about this is the absolute level of devotion that the acolytes of the God Emperor Trump have. And I'm not really a great fan of Trump, but I'm also not really particularly negative towards him. He's just whatever. He's just a guy. I don't really care that much about Trump. But in any event, the acolytes of Trump are very devoted in their reverence for him, for lack of a better way of expressing it. And then you have the situation with Kamala Harris, which is this very muted, very passive, well, at least it's not Trump, so let's just go vote for her. That's the feeling. That's the vibe that you're getting these days. And the thing about this election that's really different, apart from things that I just cited, appears to be the tension. Now, I was not around, I'm not that old, during the protests of the Vietnam War in the 60s or anything like that. But it really feels like the political tension, which has been massively exacerbated by online discourse and social media, because it's the source of all evils these days, right? Has reached an apex. I can't remember the last time in my lifetime it's been this bad. And so the problem with this election, before I make any predictions, and I don't even know if I will, no, I probably won't, is that regardless of the outcome of the election, it will be called into dispute on both sides, in all likelihood. Unless it's just a landslide victory for one candidate or another, where it's just so clear in terms of sheer numbers that one won and the other lost, any sort of closeness between them is going to be disputed. And I also think that regardless of the outcome, this is going to lead to even more tension down the line. Because let's say God Emperor Trump wins, just for the sake of argument. Well, we all know what's going to happen with the news cycle. It's going to be not just a repeat of the news cycle back in the day when he was initially elected. It's going to be a repeat on that on steroids. It's going to be steroids, growth hormone, insulin-like growth factor, to use some bodybuilding terminology here. It's going to be insane. And the prophets of doom will come out and claim that Trump is going to be the end of the world and what have you. If, on the other hand, Kamala Harris wins, and I really don't know who's going to win this, the effect is going to be more of a chillian effect. So the distrust between the parties, Republicans and Democrats, and the general distrust between left-leaning people and right-leaning people is going to become completely irreconcilable. Now, at this stage, you might make the argument that the left and right are irreconcilable anyway, but wait until this happens, because whoever wins, that's going to be that much worse. So setting aside the possibility that the election results in direct altercation, so to speak, which is, well, very possible, there's going to be long-term side effects. It's hard to imagine an American political landscape at this stage that could even conceivably recover from the division that exists between people who are left and people who are right. There's no attempt at bipartisanship anymore. The two sides basically hate each other too much for that. And because of the nature of certain types of people on the left, you get lots of people who are in the middle, basically, like myself, who are then sort of pushed into a right-wing corner, not because I feel particularly right on a lot of issues, but Because some of the things the left has been projecting now for a good decade, some of these things are just so insane, so off the wall, so removed from reality, that it's not possible to accept it as a reasonable person. I could mention some of this stuff, the debate around who's a man, who's a woman, the utter insistence of inserting real-world politics, which is almost exclusively left-wing ideology, into movies, video games, entertainment. All this stuff is a turnoff. All this pushes you into a certain corner. I don't know what to think of anything anymore. It makes me feel even less political than I already am, which isn't much at all. As I've said so many times, my interest is in broad phenomena such as sociological, biological, what regulates human behavior at base, which is not to say that politics is totally removed from that. It can be and is related to that, but I just don't even know where I belong anymore if I even were to give a serious thought to some kind of political allegiance or political loyalty. That's not that important, because I think the more important thing is what's going to happen in the wake of this election. And I just don't think it's going to be good either way. There's no benefit long-term for normal people, I think, because these people on both sides, I'll be honest, that are just so consumed by their particular ideology, don't really care about serious issues, in my humble opinion, that are affecting people anymore. And one of the reasons why I've always been pretty apolitical is because your interests as an average guy are usually not represented regardless of who you vote for. Political participation gives people a sense of self-importance, like they matter and their vote matters. That's the whole point of it. It's all an illusion, but you're supposed to not think it's an illusion. But whether you vote for the God Emperor Trump, or whether you vote for Kamala Harris, or whether you voted for some other candidate, the question I ask, the most salient question is, how much is your life going to change, your life as an individual, in the most basic way? And it probably won't change much at all. All your problems, all your troubles are going to stay there. They're not going to be alleviated by the election of some talking head who happens to be president, or any other political position for that matter. Which is why it's such a shame, because in my humble opinion, the way you could sort of change the political system is by making people somehow aware of the fact that it's all an illusion, that their vote doesn't really matter, that their lives probably won't change very much. Some of you guys who are older might remember that woman in Florida, the one who supported Obama, who literally believed that Obama was going to pay for her gas bill and for her rent, and that she would have no more problems after that. And this was made fun of viciously online and in public, but it goes to show what people really think about their relationship to certain candidates. They believe the rhetoric, they buy into it, they think big changes are coming, and worst of all, they think big changes are coming in their own lives, which, well, I don't think that woman stopped paying her own gas bills or her rent. If you know otherwise, do let me know. But the point I'm trying to make here is it would benefit everybody if the illusory nature of the political system, especially in the United States, but more broadly everywhere, but specifically in the United States, was made known. You just need to look at the landscape. Now, I'm not denying, for example, that the God Emperor Trump is funny sometimes and witty, and he is stubborn as hell. I mean, after what he's gone through with the various attempts on his life. But his election is immaterial to me. Kamala Harris's election is immaterial to me. Not least of which because I don't live in the United States, but even if that were the case, not much would change. So, at the end of the day, this election is kind of much about nothing. It's just theater. Maybe the biggest piece of theater ever in terms of the presidency and the election around the presidency. But where's it all going to lead? Other than people hating each other even more than they already do. And maybe some altercations of a particular type. Gentlemen, I know a lot of you are aligned with what I'm saying here. I've seen the comments over the years. I know a lot of you are checked out politically. But if you're not checked out politically, I'd be very interested to know why you think it even matters to vote, to bother with this stuff. If you really think it matters, do let me know. I'm very keen in understanding that because I see no point whatsoever. Who's more appealing, God Emperor or the discount Obama, it doesn't really matter. Because the days of substance are behind us. Now, many of you who are old enough remember, for example, that they used to have debates on television in the 80s and the 70s, maybe in the early 90s, about substantive issues. And people would listen, and it seemed almost as if people were having conversations. Now, did it change very much of anything? Not really. But at least there was the illusion of another sort that this was sort of sophisticated, thoughtful discourse. All of that is gone now. So what is the point of all this nonsense at the end of the day? Other than you enjoy drama, which is cool. I like my drama too occasionally. Or you've been duped into thinking your vote actually matters, or your thoughts on politics, when manifestly I think it's the case that it does not matter. Anyway, do let me know what you think in the comment section. I am baffled about people's devotion to politics these days, especially given what an absolute fecal matter show it is. There's no gravitas. There's nothing sophisticated about it. There's nothing, and the results lead to nothing. Hopefully I won't be talking about politics anytime soon again, though you never know. But as always, thank you for tuning in. And many special thanks to my patrons on Patreon and my donors on PayPal. You guys are the best. Without you, this channel could not exist. So thank you very much indeed, as always. And please hit the bell icon to be informed of my videos, as many people are not even notified of their existence. Hit it to be informed of them. And if you can leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe, all that YouTube jazz would be much appreciated. If I'm still alive, I'll check you out then. Until then, may the gods watch over you. Bye-bye for now.
If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content, please consider making a donation or becoming a patron. Thanks for watching.